trying to grow up as a young child in today's climate, man, that's got a lot of challenges. Throw in a mom and dad that's physically and mentally abusive. Matthew Callegari, he'll tell his story. Two paths you can go down: drugs, alcohol, suicidal, depression. Matthew didn't want any part of that. The strength of his grandparents and individual teachers that had such a major influence in his life started developing his mind strength to go down the right path. He'll share his journey through high school, through college. Stress eating was his comfort level. But as he started having a defining moment that athletics, strength training was going to develop his mind to go down the right path, he started developing into a fine young man. Having children, being the best influence in them, he'll share his journey when he steps on stage. And his 11-year-old holds him accountable to do what's right. You got to listen to this story because it is truly inspirational when he has his children be his inspiration to become the best version of himself. And he'll share when he has those triggers and those demons surface, how he handles it. Be inspired by this young man to be the best version of himself and to share his journey. You need to listen to Matthew Callegari. Check this out. All right, here we are. I got sporting the Unbroken shirt, which I'm proud to say Matthew Callegari is an amazing, I'm going to say young man because this gray hair does not lie. Young man, everybody's young to me. I used to be the young buck, but I got another story that's going to be told. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, the Unbroken Talk is basically having regular everyday people, and don't take that regular meaning in any kind of derogatory. Regular, like every day we can touch, we can feel, I can message him, you can talk to him, he'll reach out to you. And that's what it's about. Regular, everyday people sharing inspirational stories in hopes of inspiring you, the listener, because everyone has bumps and bruises in their life. It's a lot easier when you talk to somebody around the table over a cup of coffee or out at a party. You're having a cocktail and you meet somebody brand new and all of a sudden there's an instant connection and you start talking about hurdles in life and you get inspired by that stranger. And Matt is going to be no different. Matt, I'm going to say I met him through my recent promotion of the Unbroken Natural in Augusta. He's sporting the journey that he had. He's going to share the journey, but I also want to set the stage because, Matt, I love the very fact, I got to tell you, I saw you on Instagram. And when the show's over and I want to see what the competitors share, because, I can show the professional photography pictures and put up all that stuff. But when you post it with your kids wearing the medals and shit, it's like,
they loved it.
I'm like, that to me, it's just, I get chills, man, because I know how special that is for you to do something like that in front of your kids. So that is absolutely incredible and commendable.
That's what it's all about right there, having them, be a part of that journey.
Yeah, no, that's good. So you wrote and you messaged, you wanted to share, obviously, your journey leading up to the show and how, I'm just going to call it health and fitness had a very big impact. But you mentioned your struggle started at a young age. So I'm going to pass it to you, Matt, and spin me back, take me where you want to start to unpack where you struggled, and I'll ask some key questions and get you thinking on what makes Matt tick. But the floor is you, my man. The floor is all you.
Man, I guess my struggle starts back to as long as I can remember as a kid. One of my earliest memories is 4 or 5 years old. We were living in Kentucky, and my mom and dad were physically going at it. They were fighting, and I'll never forget that. And family has always been a struggle with me, and I realized probably later than I should have that I used my struggles, or I found outlets, and I would overeat. I would stress eat like big time. I don't even care what it is. And that was kind of my outlet. I never did drugs. I was never into that. And like I would drink from time to time, but as I grew older, like food
was the comfort. So let me just
I
ask.
did.
Let me ask, at that age, 5, 6 years old, I see it as a white canvas, right? It's just so impressionable. So, brothers, sisters, what's the household standing?
Yes, I have a brother that's 1 year younger, and my sister's 2 years younger.
Okay, so was it just verbally them going back and forth that you witnessed, or was it at you, or was there physicality as far as physical?
It was a little bit of everything, kind of graphic, but at one point, my mom, like, her face was started bleeding, and I remember having to run and get one of my sister's diapers to help my mom,
Good Lord, man. So your mind, and I talk about this all the time, and this is where, I'm really going to drill down from a mindset. So such an early age, the mindset automatically was soaking in screaming, yelling, physical abuse, being so young. How long did that continue?
Fast forward, as we grew older, the physical side of things, stopped. And it was just, I can't remember how many different family court stances we've been in here,
to that
how
level.
many ever like family counselors we've talked to, how many school counselors we've talked to. I feel like I took it a little bit harder than my brother and sister because I was a little bit more aware of what was going on. So I really took it to heart. And every time I just couldn't concentrate in school. Like I'm the kind of person that assumes the worst no matter what. So if I can see my mom upset or my dad upset or brother and sister upset, I just think the worst no matter what. And that's where a lot of my inner stress and battles really come from.
So it came from 5 years old, which is preschool age, right? Preschool,
Right.
all the way. So we'll take all the way to high school.
Yep.
Mom and dad still together. Was the physical towards you kids or just to them?
It was more, this might sound kind of bad, but it was the mental abuse and the games that, that I feel like the psychological side of things was worse than any kind of physical abuse because it's still like burned in my head to this day. And, after my parents separated, my mom started playing games with us as kids. She'd play games with us, seeing my dad, communicating with my dad. So
you got beat the fuck up mentally, man.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm gonna safe to say, and you shared obviously, food was your comfort. How now did you you mentioned counseling or so? Was there pharmaceuticals accompanying through high school and such to try, or was it just grin and bear it, man?
I just grin and bear it. I was never on any kind of medication. When we talked to family counselors, talked to the school counselor, it helped. But honestly, there's 2 teachers in my middle school years that I will never forget because I feel like they were more helpful than any counselor, any professional that I've ever talked to because they were just relatable. They would pull me aside. They would see me having a rough day and they would just talk to me. Nothing formal, nothing official, just check in on me, which honestly, I didn't feel like I had a lot growing up. And, that
the very fact that you had somebody to show your respect was a world of difference. How about relationships with, friends? I mean, were you disconnected at that point? Because that had to be a struggle. What about?
Yeah, I mean, in my high school years, I had a great core group of friends. They were pretty aware of what I was going through, mentally, and just they knew. So I was pretty well connected. And then college years, we kind of spread out a little bit. So I made some new friends, and that's when I really got more into sports and fitness because that gave me. I kind of translated my overeating into, I was a track and field athlete, swimmer. I got really into lifting, and I ended up getting my degree in exercise science.
I'm going to freeze right there for a second because this is a critical point here. So you went all the way up till college, no pharmaceuticals. That mind frame that you kind of developed early on was certainly an abusive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But to you, I mean, I'm going to say kudos to you, man, because that could have went, which I've we know what the other direction could have been. You
Sure.
had two paths, and started at an early age, not even realize it. And I want to ask you, I mean, you physically started so early hearing the abuse and all the way up to college, which I'll ask a question after, but that standpoint, no pharmaceuticals, subjected to food, a good friend group and such, where do you think, or how do you think your mind frame developed to go in the direction of slowly exiting that potential of going down the wrong road and seeking, the drinking, the drugs, the depression from what you experienced? Because it sounds like, going up to the point from high school then to college, you started to turn that corner. Was it outside influences of, realizing people talking to you? What developed that, if you follow me, that strength of your mind to keep you on the right path? Because it doesn't sound like it came from parents, for sure.
No, because a lot of the years, like, kind of circling back a little bit, my grandparents had raised my brother, sister, and I a lot. My mom, she would live with her boyfriend. I mean, she'd be around, but she didn't really live with us through a high school year. So that was I owe a lot to my grandparents as well. But as far as my mindset is, I turned it to health and fitness and sports. I mean, we were in college. I would drink, sure, I would party, but I was never like dependent on it. I didn't need it to function or anything like that. It was just something fun after like a track meet.
Right. But you had, so you're defined. Then it comes in, and I don't know if you thought about it or really realize it, but there was something, and I'm assuming that it was your grandparents kind of had some kind of influence to keep you on track and kind of keep you on that. And you developed that, because then there was a defining moment. And what I'm hearing was in school. So that defining moment to all of a sudden, turn that mind frame that you started developing with the influences of your grandparents is what I talk
Yep.
on that in college. Would you say that is your defining moment? And where's the inspiration coming to really get you on a great path?
Yeah, definitely owe a lot to my grandparents, because no matter where I was at college, they would still come to all my track meets, my swim meets, and to have that stability. I mean, my mom would be there when she could, but she couldn't make every single one. But really just having that stability, my grandparents was huge. And, neither of them are alive to see this to this day, but I think about them every day, and I owe a lot to them.
They'd be proud of you, man. I mean, realistically, yeah, are you a faith-driven man?
I've never been a religious person. I have nothing against it, but I was never raised around it, so I don't know a whole lot about it.
You're not ready yet. So maybe, in listening to the channel and sharing, there is obviously, in, what I would express being a faith-driven, there's a higher power of a Lord and Savior, which certainly has an influence. Although the door isn't cracked with you, but he is, there waiting in the wings.
Sure.
It might be something you can explore down the road when it's your time. But your grandparents, man, that's a powerful influence on you, because it could have really went sour. So, that instilled some strong values. Now, when you say food-wise, that was your comfort. Did you balloon out of weight from a standpoint that you really had an issue, or that's where you just found comfort?
I mean, I was never overweight, but I would just stress eat. Like, I wouldn't care what it was. If there's donuts, cookies, bread, like whatever I could get my hands on, that would be my outlet. And then, ironically enough, once I got done with that, I'd feel like shit. It's like, oh, I just ate all these cookies and chips and whatever else, so I'm gonna go hit the gym extra hard. So it was a cycle. It wasn't
you
good.
Beat the pit. It's funny, man. I hear this all the time, because I could truly relate. You get so pissed off, but in your mind frame, instead of being pissed off and going to the bar, you went to go work out, man, which is, commendable, man. I mean, that's just the power of your mind on how you trained it. So take me through, after college, you started building your ethics and really seasoning and strengthening your mind. Take me through. What was next on the list, that journey?
Let's see. After college, I got my degree. I ended up moving down to St. Petersburg, Florida. I got a job offer at one of the gyms down there and just kind of started from there. I got like super, super into fitness and like training aspect and, just watching, helping people change their lives, whether it be physically, mentally, combination of both. And I realized like I'm putting all this energy into these other people, which I truly enjoy doing, but I was kind of using that to hide kind of my own issues that I didn't want to deal with because I got this training session with this person. I got this training. Like I would try to stay so busy. I wouldn't want to think about my own self and take care of my own self.
You buried that.
Yep.
You buried
absolutely.
that. So is it still buried? Did it come out? Did you?
I've learned a lot how to address it and deal with it. Like if I feel a stressor coming on, or if I feel anxious, I'll go for a walk, or I'll hit my apartment gym just real quick, just something to do so I don't take on any destructive behavior anymore. Like I'm not going to sit there and eat, a whole box of Oreos or go, slam some chocolate milk or whatever it may be. Like I'm finding better ways to deal with it.
Right. And that's, listen, again, kudos on the strength of your mind. And this is where it's so important when you develop that mind frame and reprogram your thoughts to learn from your past. Your past was developed at such an early age where it's instilled regardless. And I could truly relate, having a lot of similarities from the growing up standpoint. It's instilled to you, and it's really how you handle them when they do surface, because there's going to be triggers, right? Especially when you're helping individuals to become the best version of themselves, and fortunately for you, you're not the bartender serving them another drink. You're the coach right behind them, serving them another rep, and listen to them, and indirectly, with your mind frame, you're handling it appropriately, but it is a trigger. And then you got your techniques, which it's commendable. And that is just, fantastic. And you can certainly, I'm sure you could tell stories privately. You can't for the sake of it's all obviously from a coach and a trainee confidential, but they confide in you and share probably a lot of the same things and similar things you have. So, in your recommendation, to others, meaning from what you learned from fitness, how can you just describe how powerful it is that helps you, get through the struggles you had as a younger age? What does fitness represent you, and how does that change your mindset overall?
The biggest thing that fitness represents, especially relating to myself, is it's as much mental as it is physical. You're not just going in there to bench press and squat. You're going there to clear your mind too, and you feel so much better after. No matter if you're in there for an hour or if you're just feeling like doing 20 minutes. The big thing is you're still in there. You're still exercising. You're still working out those inner stressors and demons instead of doing destructive behavior like drugs, alcohol, food, whatever it may be.
That's awesome, because we know it's mind, body, and soul, and the body is a temple. You only get one.
That's it. You got to take care of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, you only get one, and the mind's a powerful tool. Amen. So that's unbelievable. So this leads me to, I guess, the question, what was the defining moment that wanted to encourage you to shine under the lights? Take me through there.
Well, I've being an athlete all my life, being just a competitor, not wanting to lose. Like, what, I've thought about it for a while. I just never jumped in, and I was actually going to do an OCD shoot 2 years ago, but I chickened out. Like I'll admit it, I just chickened out. I was like, nah, I'll wait. So I made a New Year's resolution to myself, and I made a promise to my 2 kids that your dad's going to do at least one show, and we'll see how it goes. And they thought it was the coolest thing ever.
That's awesome. So you had your defining moment.
Yeah.
And the kids, inspiration, man. I saw that. That is awesome. So that started, what was that this year? Was it this year? Because you had 2 shows you mentioned.
Correct. I did the show back in June.
Mhm.
I was like a deer in headlights then, so I really didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
But then I took notes from that, and then I had my kids with me in the Augusta show, and they just all I saw was them. It was a full house. The stand, like the seats were packed,
Right.
but all I saw was them, like literally jumping up and down in the back, waving at me. And then if I got called to switch, stage positions, I'd see my son bolt to the other side and wave, and they'd run back and forth. So I
Hey,
just focused. I just focused on them, listened for the posing cues, and that made it so much better. It was
yeah,
awesome.
what an amazing experience. And I
Yeah,
know firsthand, the sense of competition, especially as, a father and matured, responsible, career-oriented trainer. You're doing this for your own satisfaction and the promise to your kids. It's not, the sense of competition, especially with bodybuilding, is you versus you, because the journey is, as you just said, you took notes of looking at yourself. You can get feedback, but it's bodybuilding is really just, it's a solo competition because it's subjective with judging, but when the day ends, it's how you're improving yourself, because prep is so long for some individuals.
yeah,
If
it's
they're,
true.
if the level of body composition needs to be adjusted and all.
Mhm.
And I always share, it's the journey. So you had an unbelievable journey to prep with inspiration of your kids. How were they responding? Were they aware of the sacrifices you were making before you stepped on that stage?
Yeah. They go with me on the weekends that I have them. My daughter usually runs to the front door of the gym because she knows that's like our Saturday morning thing. So
That's so cool, man.
they're a part of it. And like even just this morning, my daughter asked me if she could push the sled with some weight on it. I was like, sure, go for it. Let's set you up. And they see that's a part of it, and they're as much as part of the prep as I am. So having
That
them
is
along,
amazing. How old are they?
not 11.
So just to look in the mirror here, as you're looking in the mirror at yourself when you were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and what you were experiencing and what you had to deal with coming up. Now your children at such a young age, on what they're going to share, is just their mindset is already developing from the standpoint on seeing dad on sacrifices,
Sure.
seeing dad on goals, committing, promises. It's just so powerful that
It
the
is.
inclusion of the family when you're competing is absolutely amazing and so commendable. So you had them, and I said when I saw the picture of after the show, when you did the Polaroids, I'm going to date myself, right? Take the Polaroids with your
Yeah.
kids. I thought great. That was amazing. So what is your overall, and what's the forecast for the future? The takeaway as you completed the show, you had time with your kids or so. What's your takeaway for the future? What holds Matt?
I
What's Matt
just
going to do?
keep training. There's actually another one coming up in February right in my backyard in Hilton Head. So that's only like
Right,
40 minutes away from me. So it's kind of hard not to do that. But I
right.
know like after that, I got to take some time just to kind of recuperate, and doing back to back shows it beats you down mentally and physically. So, but the kids are excited about that one. They're already talking about it. And my 9-year-old, especially, she has no filter whatsoever. She will, no, like he will tell me straight up, it's like, Daddy, you shouldn't be having that. You shouldn't be eating that. You shouldn't be drinking that.
That is
Like
awesome.
she keeps
Holding you accountable, Matt.
100%. And
That is awesome,
that's
man.
great because that, to me, that shows that they're aware of the commitment that it takes. They're aware of, hey, you can't eat that bag of chips, or you can't have that extra
How
donut
about that?
or whatever. So they see that and they know it, and they're
What
not.
an amazing
Yeah.
role model, brother. I'm proud of you. What an amazing role model.
Yes.
This is, just I said, the inclusiveness of family is great. So individuals that are listening to this show right now and hearing your story, if you had to give your audience that's listening, as well as a young version of you, advice on the journey that you had, what kind of advice would you
Sure.
share?
I guess no matter what struggles, whether it's mental, physical ailments you guys have going on, just always remember there's people in your corner. There's people watching, whether you have kids, family, friends, your dog. Like they can sense when something's wrong, and they can sense when you're happy. Just don't quit, because you're not only quitting on yourself, you could potentially be quitting on your family members, your girlfriend, husband, whatever it may be. There's been times I've wanted to throw in the towel. I didn't want to. I almost, I didn't want to do the June show because there was a lot of other family stuff going on. But I knew my kids saw me through it, and to me, I saw it as if I threw in the towel and I quit, I'd be giving up on them too. So just, you always have to remember who's watching.
That is words of wisdom, man. Keep true to yourself and your inspiration, which in your case is your kids. That's amazing. So the last question is, now that you have the chance to share your story, hear the journeys of others, the unbroken symbol, does that represent anything special to you, or can you describe?
I mean, the unbroken symbol, it just kind of what I just touched on. It's just not quitting on yourself, not quitting on your promises, and not quitting on your family and friends. You're not alone. As corny as that may sound, you're not alone. No matter what you're going through, there's always somebody there to help, whether it's family, friends, coworkers, or a complete stranger at the store. Just don't give up on yourself, and don't give up on your goals, no matter how big or small they are.
And that would make you what?
That would be keep me unbroken.
That's awesome. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it.
Stay true to yourself, man, and look forward to those kids eventually getting in and stepping on stage.
I will. That's right. We'll make it happen.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.